everyone, it's Milky. Welcome back to my channel. Today I am in my kitchen because at long last I am filming a cooking video. I think this is one of the things that people request most frequently, but I feel like it's really different from what I usually put on my channel, so I'm not sure if anyone will actually find this interesting. But I have been home all week because my boyfriend was sick at first and now I am sick, and I just need something to do that's not watching anime or playing Stardew Valley, so we will cook something. My mom recently recommended me this recipe for these rhubarb muffins, and I recently found some beautiful rhubarb at the store, so I thought I would take this chance to try a new recipe. Hopefully it turns out well. Again, I've never made it before, so it might be horrible, but what better way to spend some time than bake something in the kitchen? So yeah, I have most of my ingredients set out. I will have the recipe here on my lovely laptop. And the first thing that I need to do is make some muffin liners because I don't actually have muffin liners. I meant to buy them when I was buying rhubarb, but then I completely forgot and I didn't have a basket, so I didn't have room. But in any case, so I've already made a few, kind of. They're this kind of like tulipy looking shape. So you will need parchment paper. Mine is kind of falling apart, that's fine. And then you'll need like a copper cylinder of some sort that fits the size of your muffin tin. I'm gonna get like a nice foot or so. Then we're gonna fold it in half. And then fold it into thirds. Then tear this, but I want it to be a little bit neater, so I'm going to use scissors and just cut this into squares. The guide that I'm following says that you should have 6-inch squares, but I don't really want to measure, so this works for me. Now once you have your little squares, you're going to take one, fold it in half, fold it in half again. Now you should have a nice piece of paper with some foldage in there. Then you will take your cup, place it on the top, and then kind of using the lines that you cut as a guide, fold it so that it kind of wraps around itself. Like so. And then I found that it helps to like kind of take the corners of this and pinch it so that it sits a bit more nicely in the muffin pan. So then you have kind of this faux cup shape. And then this can, with some work, fit into the muffin pan. So just place it in. It doesn't sit perfectly, but once you have dough in here, I think it'll work a little bit better. So I'm going to make the rest of these and then I will be back. Alrighty, my muffin cups are ready. I will hope that this will work decently because it doesn't look very good, but I think again once it has weight in it, it'll be better. So I guess I will preheat the oven now while I'm doing everything else. So 375 if you are following along. But please don't follow along with my video. I'm going to link the actual recipe that I'm using down below, just in case I forget to mention anything important. So first thing is that what I'm going to do is I will prepare my rhubarb. So I will need 200 grams total of diced rhubarb. So let's do that now and chop it up quite nicely. I just washed this. I've got my cutting board. Let's see how much 200 grams actually is. The ends. It's 50. So I'm just going to cut it lengthwise and then into like centimeter-sized pieces. Hopefully that'll be okay. It's also interesting. beautiful rhubarb is ready. So with that out of the way, let's start actually putting together the muffins. So first step is to whisk together flour, sugar, baking powder, ginger, nutmeg, baking soda, and salt. I have my little scale over here. I much prefer using a scale for measuring things than like cups. I feel like it's more accurate. My lovely pink measuring bowls. 250 grams. This will take too long. Whoops. Will this be the most chaotic thing ever? Quite possibly. $200 grams of sugar. One teaspoon of baking powder. And 1/2 teaspoon of baking soda. And 1/2 teaspoon of salt. Now the recipe says to use ground ginger, which I don't have, and to use nutmeg, which I also don't have, so instead I'll be using some frozen fresh ginger, which I have, and I'll also add some cardamom. I really like adding cardamom to things that I bake, so I think that it'll add a nice fresh addition to this rather than having nutmeg. So using my handy mortar and pestle, I'm gonna take they use a teaspoon of nutmeg. I think that would be too much cardamom though, so I'm just gonna take a pinch of pods. About this much. Give them a good whack to release the seeds. And then once those have kind of split open, so you can just peel them apart, and I'm so disoriented. There you go, release the seeds. And then you want to discard the shells, because those are just kind of papery. What we really want are the cardamom seeds. This isn't going to be quite a teaspoon, but cardamom is really potent and aromatic, so I think that this should be fine. And then once we have the seeds, we're going to crush them into oblivion with the pestle. Alright, that should be good enough. Ta-da. And now into our bowl we will add our fresh ginger, like this much. It's maybe a generous tablespoon. You need more than if you were using it dried, because it's kind of less aromatic. I'll add my ground cardamom, and then 150 grams of rhubarb. There we go. And let's give it a stir. Should probably keep it on the stove. Beautiful. So now let's mix together the wet ingredients. We need the eggs, sour cream, buttermilk, melted butter, vanilla, and lemon zest. First melt my butter. I need 1/4 of a cup, which is half of a stick of butter. Just cut it into pieces so that it melts a little bit easier. also going to need melted butter for my streusel, so I will do that now. So while the butter is cooling for the liquid ingredients, let's make the streusel. So for this, you will need 94 grams of flour, 55 grams of brown sugar. I used to love brown sugar so much when I was a kid, I would just like eat it by the spoonful. Probably not very healthy, but you know, a girl's gotta do what a girl's gotta do. That's a bit too much. That's a much better view. 50 grams of regular granulated sugar. 1/2 teaspoon of salt. Ground ginger, but again, I'm using fresh ginger that I have chopped up oh so nicely. They use like vanilla beans, but I don't have vanilla beans, so I'm just gonna use like vanilla extract. Let's do maybe 1/2 teaspoon. We're gonna mix that together. Smells super vanilla-y. Now here I have 1/4 cup of melted butter. Just drizzle that in. Get every last drop of buttery goodness out. Mix that together. Should get nice and crumbly. You don't want to over stir it because you don't want this to turn into a dough. Although, maybe it won't turn into a dough. I feel like I should use my hands for this, but I really don't want to get them dirty. And now we're going to add the rest of our rhubarb, approximately 50 grams. I think I have a little bit more because I have a little bit more rhubarb, but this is good enough. I will use my hands for this because I don't think that I can do it nicely otherwise. I want it to be nice and crumbly and mixed together. I think once I'm putting it on top of the muffins, it'll be fine. It's kind of like a very loose, crumbly texture. Alright, now for our wet ingredients, here I have my 1/4 cup of melted butter, which is probably still a little bit too hot, but let's hope that it'll be fine. So to that we are going to add the eggs, sour cream, buttermilk, butter, vanilla, and lemon zest. I have not very much lemon zest, so I'm also going to add some lemon juice. Still add the buttermilk, hopefully that'll cool everything sufficiently and then mix together. So I need 120 grams of that. Buttermilk. Stir it as I'm adding so that it doesn't just cool off the butter and not mix together. It's a little bit too much, so whoopsie, but we'll be fine. Now some sour cream. We require 1 cup or 240 grams of that. That's essentially this entire container, so I'm just gonna scoop that out. Nice and tangy. That's good enough. Mix that together. Just trying to incorporate that. Probably should have added like the more liquidy stuff little by little to the sour cream. Oh, but actually that mixed together really nicely. I was worried that it would be lumpy, but I guess sour cream is pretty liquidy. There is that. We need our 3 eggs. Let's see if I can do a cool one-handed egg break. Oh gosh. Yeah, not too bad. There's 1, 2. What I can't do though is mix with my left hand. wash my hands. I think that's good enough. Next I'm gonna add, they use a teaspoon of vanilla bean paste, but I'm just gonna use regular vanilla extract. Do a teaspoon of that. Two. And now for the lemon zest, I don't really have enough from like one whole lemon. I kind of just have maybe like a third of a lemon worth of lemon zest from like a dinner from a few nights ago. So I'll add this. Then in addition to that, I think I'm gonna add like, I don't know, a teaspoon or so of lemon juice. Maybe that's all I've got. One, two. Alright, I think that's everything I needed. So now we just need to fold everything together. So now that that's done, we're going to fold the wet ingredients into the dry ingredients, and then we're ready to assemble. Alright, things are getting quite chaotic, so I cleaned up a bit. I have my 3 sets of bowls, the dry ingredients, the liquid ingredients, and the streusel topping, and now I am ready to assemble it. So I will fold the liquid into the dry ingredients. Try to not over mix that, because again, we don't want lumps, we don't want these to be too chewy, we want them to have a nice, delicate chewiness. And then I will put everything together. So we have our dry ingredients here. I'm gonna make a little hole in the middle of this. Pour that in. This bowl is just barely big enough. This will probably be way too many muffins. But that's okay, because there's no such thing as too many muffins. And now I'll try to stir this in with minimal spillage. And beautiful. It doesn't look very beautiful on camera, but it's fine. We've got our prepared muffin tins. Let's get our butter and start scooping. I'll do maybe 2 scoops per muffin. Hopefully that'll be okay and they won't like overflow terribly. I'm also hoping these won't stick. But it doesn't seem like it'll be a sticky dough. Now that that has been messily put in here, I really hope these won't overflow. I think they will, but we'll deal with the consequences later. I'm gonna add some of our streusel topping. Hopefully I can get this to be nice and crumbly. I think if I like scrape off a layer and then sprinkle it on, that'll be good. Yeah. I feel like it's hard to portion out. But let's hope that this will be fine. Worst case scenario, there will be a few that have no streusel, but that would be very sad. Alright, so our first tray of muffins is done. Now it's just time to put them in the oven for 20 to 30 minutes or until a toothpick comes out clean. Fingers crossed that these look alright. I'm a little bit nervous because I don't trust these muffin cups, but let's find out. I will see you in 20 minutes. And with that, our muffins are done. I got 17 in total. They don't look great just because like dough got on the sides of the tins, and so you have ones where it's just like burnt looking. But you know, the most important thing is how they taste. So I will make myself a drink to go with these, and then we can do the taste test and see what it is that we have concocted. Alrighty, so I have my muffin, I have a cup of green tea to go along with it, and so let's see how it tastes. It's nice and fluffy. We got good chunks of rhubarb inside. Let's try it. Surprisingly, they're not too sweet. I was expecting otherwise because they have like a lot of sugar in them, both in the actual muffin and in the streusel. They taste very nice and mild. I forgot how acidic rhubarb is, so I maybe even overdid it with the lemon juice. They're quite sour. I took one of the freshly warm ones. I feel like it would be better if it's cold, honestly. And like, once it refrigerates, the flavors will kind of meld together a little bit. It's very nice, but I do think that it would benefit from being colder, but I'm just used to eating baked goods when they're warm and fresh out of the oven. The flavors are really nice, and I'm quite happy with this. The streusel on this one, at least, isn't very noticeable. That would be crumblier. They're kind of just melted into the top of the muffin, but it's still yummy. Probably just shouldn't sit here and like film me eating for ages. So I think I'll wrap up the video here. I hope you enjoyed my first chaotic attempt at doing a cooking video. I try to make it more casual. I really love the style of like ASMR cooking, like no noise, just nice choppy sounds and aesthetic views of things being added into bowls. But that takes a lot of effort, and I don't think that I want to do that for whole cooking videos. I've done it like twice before, and it's always such a hassle. As much as I love that type of cooking video, I think that I just don't have the mental energy to pull that off. So I hope that you like this more casual, kind of chaotic style cooking video. If you do, for some reason, end up making this recipe, I hope that you will enjoy it. I quite like it. Yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a lovely, lovely day. Bye!